to Ever Living, a podcast where we share the voices and stories of those who work and pray to protect life in New England and beyond. We are your life-loving hosts, Cindy.
And Jessica.
Welcome to Ever Living, everybody.
Welcome back. How are you, Cindy?
Great, Jessica. Did anything exciting happen in your life this week?
Well, I got engaged, so that's exciting.
Yay!
Yeah, so
what
I
can
don't
you
have the
share about
ring.
that?
The ring is getting resized currently, so
Okay.
that's kind of sad that I can't show that. But
Well,
yeah.
eventually you'll get 2 rings, so.
Exactly.
So what can you share about this happy occasion or anything?
Yeah. Well, I can share how it happened. So basically, my now fiance and we were at the chapel at Yukon where we met.
Oh.
Yeah, so we were praying, and then I had to go to the bathroom. So like, so the bathroom's in the basement. So we went into the basement, and then I went into the bathroom, and I came back out, and he was on one knee in the basement of the church. So
Yay! Everybody go to the bathroom and come out. Wash your hands.
So he was going to do it in the church, in the chapel, but basically I usually genuflect like twice. Like I'll genuflect like once when I leave the pew, and then I'll genuflect again when I'm like leaving the church. And I didn't do it the second time. So what he was going to do was like I was going to genuflect, and then I was going to turn around, and he was going to be on one knee, but then I just didn't do it. So
yeah. Oh, whoops. You only prayed once or
so like, like basically like kneel in front of the altar and like do the sign of the cross.
Yeah.
And like, so I did it once when I left the pew, and like usually I'll do it like again when I'm leaving the church, but like I just didn't do it this time.
Oops.
It's like the one time I haven't done it ever.
Oh no.
So
oh well. That's
yeah.
cool. Did he seem a little, I don't know, nervous like that day or?
So like not during the day, like he seemed fine. He covered it up pretty well, but he did look at me weird when I didn't genuflect the second time. Like he kind of like, and I was at the time I was like, why is he looking at me like that? But I get it now.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, but he covered it pretty well. Thank you.
Great. Can't wait to meet him.
Yeah, I know. I'm surprised you haven't met him yet.
Yeah. So Jessica, once you're married, you think you'll be filing your taxes separately or jointly?
Jointly together.
Jointly, yeah. These are things we have to think about, right? Like when you marry and like you combine your lives,
your finances and your
life.
Well,
then who better to talk to today than the chairman of the Massachusetts Alliance, and he knows all about taxes, to stop taxpayer funding of abortion. Let's welcome Tom-Harvey.
Hello, thank you for having me on.
Welcome, Tom.
Thanks for joining the podcast.
Sure.
I'm glad you're here. Yeah. So could you tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and maybe a little bit about why you started the Massachusetts Alliance to Stop Taxpayer Funding of Abortion and what exactly that means?
Sure. I'm from Belmont, Massachusetts. Went to Belmont High School, Tufts University, and Suffolk University Law School. And I've been active in the pro-life movement probably for about 30 plus years. And the reason I got involved originally, I think, is because I just felt like this was, of all the different issues out there, this is the most important issue, because the other issues are all about quality of life, where this is just about life itself, and very core. If you don't have this, you don't have nothing else. So that's why I got involved, and I'm a lawyer, so there's a lot of legal ramifications regarding the pro-life issue. Back in, I think it was 2015, I was just thinking about the issue and why we're going not only not advancing in Massachusetts, but probably going backwards all the time. So, and what could be done about that? And I thought like the two sort of main areas where maybe we could succeed are one on the pro-life pregnancy centers, which do such a great job. And there we can make some progress. And then two, on the issue of taxpayer funded abortions. So I did a little research, and unbeknownst to me and probably most other people in Massachusetts, it's a constitutional right to have Medicaid abortions paid for by the taxpayer. And this was a result of a court decision by the Supreme Judicial Court, the highest Massachusetts court, back in 1981. So ever since then, our tax dollars have been paying for abortion. That court ruled that the right to abortion under the Massachusetts Constitution is broader than it is under the U.S. Constitution. Where they got that from, who knows? The word abortion is not even in the Constitution, but yet they found that way, and that's been the law in the Commonwealth ever since. So I thought, in order to change, we got to at least start talking about the issue. And I think they kind of took that away. So it's not a matter for the legislature. If you went to your state representative and said, "Hey, I don't like the fact that we're paying for abortions," the response would be, "There's nothing we can do about it. It's a constitutional right." So the only way to change the Constitution is go through this initiative petition process, which we're trying to do now. Now, I tried it a number of times. I tried it in 2015. I was hoping to get some organizational support, but no one was interested. So then I ended up, I think we needed like 64,000 signatures, and we got about 30,000. So that was the first effort. And of course, it's not my effort. I have a lot of really great volunteers, but just not enough of them. So then we tried it again in 2018, and we got about 60,000 signatures, but we needed 74,000 or something like that. And then pretty much the same result happened in 2020. We haven't tried it again since then. So it's 2015, 2017, 2019 is the 3 times we tried it. So now I think we might succeed this time. I'm hopeful. We've got, a bigger list, more volunteers, but, we need even more volunteers. It all comes down to collecting signatures. We need to collect, the number is 3% of the number of voters in the previous election for governor. And it turns out that 3% equals 74,574 signatures is what we need, certified signatures. So as a practical matter, we probably have to need about 100,000 signatures. And the reason for that is the Secretary of State's office is very stringent on these signatures, so that I know this because I sat down with someone one time, one of those years, to find out, why is this sheet disqualified? If there's any little tiny imperfection, if there's a stray mark up on the right-hand corner of the sheet, they throw the entire sheet out. If someone had highlighted something on the sheet, that's thrown out. If someone had tried to make a copy of the sheet and it came out like 95% as opposed to 100%, that's thrown out. So every signature on those sheets are all gone. And so it's, it turns out it's hard. You got to be very careful with these sheets. So I usually recommend, if you look at a sheet, like the front side might have 8 signature lines, and then the back side might have 15 or so. I always think if you get the front filled out, put it away. It's too risky to keep on going. And then, you got 20 signatures, and then someone does something to test their pen or something, see if it writes. So you just can't risk that. So
wow, maybe 1 signature per page.
Yeah, we've got plenty of those. You're right. But, that's just the first step in the process. To amend the Constitution is a hard thing to do. So the next step is it goes to the state legislature, and you need to get a quarter of them in joint session. So there's 200 legislators. You need to get 50 of them. And that may, we're going to take a shot. I don't know whether we've got the 50. I'm hoping, because it's both a social issue, abortion, and a fiscal issue, the taxpayer aspect, that there's enough people that would vote in our favor to advance it. The third step is, so the first step is collecting the signatures. The second step goes to the legislature. The third step, it goes to the next elected legislature, and again get 25%. And then the last step, it goes on the ballot. So it's a hard thing to amend the Constitution, and a majority vote on the ballot. So it's targeted to go on the ballot if we accomplish all these other steps in the fall of 2028. So it's a long process.
Okay. Wow, that is a long process. So just to reiterate, so essentially, since 1981, taxpayers in Massachusetts have been paying for abortion through Medicaid. And basically, in order to stop that, because it's in the Constitution, you have to collect over 74,000 signatures by when do you have to do this
November
by?
19.
November
So we've got
19th.
about, from tomorrow or Monday or whatever, we've got then from then until November 19, and they have to be submitted to the local clerk's offices. One of the things that makes it difficult is you can't just take a sheet and pass it around a room, because
Mm-hmm.
it must be, each municipality has a different sheet. I mean, it's the same sheet, but you got to mark up this is a sheet for Boston. This is a sheet for Worcester. So only registered voters in that particular town or city can sign that particular sheet. So,
Oh, wow. So, Tom, how are your volunteers collecting these names?
well, I have a pretty large email list, and the volunteer. So, not everyone's going to be a volunteer, but a lot of them are, and they'll be going to the supermarkets and to the churches. Those are the main places. Anywhere people gather, these fall festivals, that type of thing, they'll be going there as well. So those are like the ideal places. But there's I provide like an instruction sheet. For example, you don't want to be drinking coffee while you're doing this. I
Oh,
remember he was meeting a guy. He's got like he had like about 18 names on his sheet, and he had a bunch of different sheets. He was in front of some conference, and he had a coffee stain on every single sheet. I was like,
oh,
so every
okay.
one of
Keep it
those,
clean.
unbeknownst to him, is going to be thrown out. I was like, what a waste of time. So you just
So they're
can't,
very
you can't
specific
take the
about the
risk,
rules. Yeah.
So, but yeah,
Well,
so I'd say churches and especially market baskets. Market baskets are really
oh,
good.
huh.
But we may be
Yeah.
competing with other signature gatherers, because I guess like 40 something petitions were approved by the Attorney General's office yesterday. So there's going to be
Oh,
some competition for some of these signatures. I mean,
yeah.
you can sign different sheets. Um, let me see. I think there are four constitutional amendments like mine, and the rest are relate to laws. So it's a different process. I
Hmm.
mean, you still need a lot of signatures, but I think if it's a law as opposed to a constitutional amendment, they just need to get one time these signatures, or maybe
Hmm.
another signature gathering period in the fall where they have to collect like 10,000 more or 12,000 more, but then they're done. Whereas I have to just the one shot of the signatures, but then go through the legislature. So
Wow. So, Tom, what is like the feedback from people when you come up to them? What is the positive feedback? What's the negative response? What's the
I've
I don't know?
yeah, in past experience, I've had, I remember one woman, our tax dollars aren't being paid for abortion. Like I'm an idiot out there. So, just wrong. It's just not knowing. And I think a lot of people don't realize that their tax dollars are being paid for abortion in Massachusetts. Um, some people, well, with the churches, if you don't have the pastor or the priest that says the mass promoting it, that makes a huge difference, if they do promote it. Because otherwise the people don't know what they're doing out there, and they just walk right by you. They think you're collecting money for something.
Mm,
So, and this year we're going to have prominent signs. So I think it's good to let people know from a little bit of a distance what you're doing out there. You know.
hmm.
So the some people can't wait to sign it. If they come out of church sometime looking, where is the person with that, the clipboard or the table. So you get different reactions. The
Yeah.
advantage of church is kind of a targeted audience. You hope that most of the people that are going are willing to sign, but you never know. Like I say, it's important for the priest to promote it. The disadvantage is, as far as a church, they come out in bunches, so a lot of people don't want to hang
Oh,
around. It's all
yeah.
of a sudden there's a big mass of people, and you can't.
Hmm.
People don't want to wait. The advantage of a supermarket is, the disadvantage is it's less targeted, right? They're not necessarily going to sign it, but they come out much more staggered, so it's better that way.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tom, do you know what amount of tax
I think it's
how many
well,
dollars are going to fund
yeah, I
abortion
think
in
it's in excess
Massachusetts?
of 6 million a year, or maybe
Wow.
last year was 5 million, and the year before that was 4 million, but it's around 6 million of Massachusetts tax dollars go for abortion.
Wow. And that's going to the abortion centers and Planned
Well, it's
Parenthood and
it's
such?
Medicaid reimbursements. So, for example, you go to Planned Parenthood, Medicaid will cover the cost, and then they'll seek reimbursement from the state.
Oh,
So,
wow.
Tom, kind of going off of that, just for those listeners of ours that might be wondering this, so how is your effort different from ending the federal funding of Planned Parenthood through Trump's One Big
Oh, good
Beautiful Bill?
question.
Because I know that just happened, and
Well,
people might be thinking, didn't we just end taxpayer funding of abortion?
yeah.
So
Well,
how does this
actually,
how is this different?
even at the federal level, because of Massachusetts federal court, they put a stop on that. They granted an injunction. Planned Parenthood filed a suit, and there's an injunction was issued by a federal court. So even the big beautiful bill is not in effect. And the big issue on that is whether the higher court, the appeals court, will issue a stay. In other words, the law would be put into effect, but while an appeal is pending, the tax dollars would stop. But regardless of that, it's a good question. In Massachusetts, it wouldn't have any effect anyway, because it's considered a constitutional right, and the state is obligated to make up for the amount of money that the federal government won't pay. So
Okay. So it's state funding essentially.
yeah,
for abortion. Yeah.
I mean, under the Hyde Amendment, for the most part, abortions weren't being paid for, but money can still go to Planned Parenthood. They could use it to pay the electric bill or something. But under the Big Beautiful Bill, that was out, right?
Yeah.
But at any rate, the bottom line is the state will make up for whatever the federal government stops paying.
Okay. So, Tom, do you know how many abortions in Massachusetts are covered by tax dollars?
I don't know that number, but I think most.
It would make
Most.
sense that it's a large amount, right? Because a lot of women who are having abortions are probably maybe on Medicaid, right? So it would make sense that
You're right.
it's being funded through Medicaid reimbursements. That's probably most would make sense. I agree with you.
So it's like
yeah.
free. It's for free then.
Yeah, essentially free. Yeah.
Okay.
Which is not. I mean, I think if it cost people money, there'd probably be less abortions. So it's
Exactly.
there's so many things. There's sort of such a big economic factor involved. Now I know nationwide, it's overwhelming that people are opposed to have their tax dollars paid for abortion. I don't know. I've never seen polling in Massachusetts. So it's probably a much closer call in this blue state. But I think that even in Massachusetts, most people would not want their tax dollars going for abortion. So if we can get it to the ballot, I think we could win. But getting to the ballot is the question: can we get the signatures, and can we get it through the legislature?
Yeah, you need to find 50 supportive legislators.
Yes. There's 40 state senators, 160 state representatives. They have these what they call joint sessions, and the Constitution says that they have to have a joint session in May when they're supposed to vote on these types of petitions.
Okay. So are you reaching out to legislators?
Not yet. We'll see if we get that far.
Yeah.
Gotta get the signatures.
Because legislators are big on ducking issues, so here's an issue they can say, well, it's not even before us yet.
Yeah, and I don't. Sometimes like one party will vote like all the same,
Right.
or
Block.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping, even if we don't succeed getting it through the legislature, I think it has the potential to expose some legislators in certain districts that it might be a hard issue. So a potential opponent could use it against them as a battering ram to say, hey, your tax dollars are being paid for abortion. You say in a Republican district, that's a possibility.
Okay. So the way each legislator votes, will that be recorded?
Oh, sure. Yes.
Okay. Do you know of any other states that have succeeded in this?
I know that Tennessee some years ago, they sort of went the whole ball of wax. I think there was a court decision that favored abortion, and they, I think, had a constitutional amendment saying that abortion is not to be publicly funded. So they took the big step. I'm only taking the step to say it's not a constitutional right, because I think that's all we can possibly do in Massachusetts. But Tennessee, And even in Tennessee, it was a very close vote. I think it was the pro-lifers won like 51 to 49%, something like that.
Hmm. And what are your how do you defend that abortion is not a constitutional right? Like where are you looking, and um, how would you say that it is unconstitutional?
Well, I think that um, the court decision back in 1981 was pretty much what they call judicial legislation. These activist judges, the word abortion is not in the Constitution. So where do they come up with that? So therefore, um, and by what right do the our tax dollars, have to pay for something that so many people think is morally wrong?
Hmm.
So I think there's the argument.
Yeah.
It's kind of similar to the why Roe v. Wade was overturned with the Dobbs decision. Abortion should have never been a constitutional
Yeah,
amendment.
right,
And
right.
you go and read that decision, they talk about why and how that was poor. Same thing, activist judges making this decision that the whole country had to abide by, even if they didn't agree with it.
Yeah, good analogy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when Roe v. Wade happened, like Tom, what was your view on that when it was overturned?
I was kind of, happily surprised because I thought in my lifetime it would never happen. So, yeah, that was a great thing. But I knew it wouldn't matter much in Massachusetts, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
around the country, it's been great in so many states. The effects of the overturning of Roe v. Wade.
yeah. Do you remember back to like 50 years ago, like when Roe v. Wade started, like what it was like then?
I mean, that would have been early 70s, right? What, 70, Roe v. Wade, 73, 72?
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
don't, I wasn't really involved in the issue back then. I think I was in high school, maybe. Really wasn't on the radar screen.
Yeah. Okay. But cool.
That's fair. Well, so obviously this is a great effort. How do people get involved? So you said, as at this current moment, how many volunteers do you have that are currently
I've
involved
got
in
hundreds
getting
of volunteers,
signatures?
but I need more.
Okay.
Yeah. Um,
Okay.
I don't, well, in order to be a volunteer, you don't have to be 18 years old. You don't have to be a registered voter. Anybody can collect signatures. However, to sign the sheets, you've got to be a registered voter, 18 years and
Okay.
older. So college students, they're going to be 18 or older, I assume, right? So they can sign if they're mass residents, right?
Yeah.
But they can also collect.
So how are there trainings, or is there a way that people can
Yeah, the next I'm
learn how to
having
collect signatures?
yes, I'm scheduling trainings around, and right now there are two. I had one last week. There are two presently scheduled. One in Westfield, out near Springfield, and another in Worcester. Um, Let me see. The one in Westfield is on September 11. It's at 6:30. It's Our Lady of Blessed Sacrament Parish, 127 Holyoke Road. And the one in Worcester is the day before. That would be September 10, Wednesday, and that is at Our Lady of Loretto, 37 Massasoit Road in Worcester, and that starts at 7 o'clock. So, and I'll have others scheduled as well around the Boston area. So those are kind of long treks for me, but it's worth it. And it's good to have these training sessions, not only to let people know how to collect, but just to they can interact with other volunteers, kind of form teams occasionally, which is very good. It's
Yeah.
good to go out there with, I think, a partner or two
Hmm.
to collect.
Yeah. And you have a website?
Yes, www.stoptaxpayerabortion.org, or
Okay.
they can email me. And I think that might be a problem with the website the last couple of days. So, in other words, if they hit volunteer, it may not work. So you can email me. It's probably the better way at this point, and that's at tom@stoptaxpayerabortion.org.
Okay.
Okay.
And
We're
it's
looking at the
probably
website.
best
Hmm.
if people want to get involved, they can send you an email, or they could just show up to the trainings
Yes,
on either of those dates. Okay.
yes, and I'll
Great.
have
And the
other trainings as well.
training, what will the training cover specifically?
Well, just some of it, what I just talked about before about the sheets and how to be very, very careful. And, some of the best approaches at these training sessions, I'll also give them signs to use, and um, an instruction sheet on how to sign them, and, what needs to be done. If possible, turn it into the clerk's office. If not, there's a post office box, mailing address on these sheets where they can mail them to me. I'll get them, and then arrangements will be made to file them with the clerk's offices. So we cover that. We cover different strategies. I'll tell them, hey, here's the best places to go: the supermarkets and the churches. And getting the churches okay, all those types of things.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Well, you heard it, everybody. We got until November when?
November 19.
November 19.
Shortly before Thanksgiving.
All right. That'll be a good Thanksgiving dinner. Nobody eats turkey till we get these signatures.
Yeah.
I love it. That's great. Well, awesome. Well, thank you, Tom. Appreciate you coming on and sharing about it. And I hope that this helps get the word out about your signature collection. So everyone, you can email Tom at stoptaxpayerabortion.org if you want to get involved. And then, Tom, can you repeat one more time the times of the trainings for the signature collections?
Sure. The one on Wednesday the 10th is at Our Lady of Loretto Parish in Worcester. That's 37 Massasoit Road. That's at 7:00 p.m. And the one the following day is in Westfield, which is out near Springfield, and that's at 6:30. And that's at Our Lady of Blessed Sacrament, 127 Holyoke Road, Westfield.
Great. And can you be from other states to be part of this training? Do you have to be a Massachusetts
No, I
resident?
mean, you can be from other states. Yeah. You can't sign it, but you can collect.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, do you have you brought a Bible verse to share with our listeners today, Tom?
Well, I think my favorite Bible verse is "Seek first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and all these things will be given you besides," which is Matthew 6:33.
Amen. Seek first the kingdom of God and His righteousness. That's my husband's one of his favorite verses too. So yeah,
Great
awesome.
verse, for sure.
So you're a lawyer, Tom? What's some of the work that you do as a lawyer?
Well, I do civil litigation, going to court over different things. Right now, I'm defending a pro-life pregnancy center, which is being sued by an abortion clinic. So that's in federal court.
Wow.
Yeah. So I've been.
Why are they being sued?
Oh, well, I think it's ridiculous. The original suit was claiming that the pro-lifers were hacking into their system and wiretapping and stealing clients, and it was totally baloney. And when we showed that, then they also claimed that they couldn't find any evidence of it, but they knew it was going on, and they couldn't find the evidence because the pro-lifers were also covering it up so well. It's like, they don't have close to the expertise to do that. So when the other side found out that they didn't have any basis, they amended the complaints and changed it to say that they're stealing clients and people are going into there because of the deceptive things on their website and their Google ads. And it's all, I think it's ridiculous. But
wow.
Choose Life Marketing from Missouri is a co-defendant. So we recently made motions to dismiss back on July 29. We're still awaiting the court's decision. So if those motions get denied, then we'll continue. Otherwise, case is over.
So the abortion center is upset that women are choosing life for themselves and for
they're
their
losing
children.
business. Yeah, they're losing some business. Yeah.
Well, fight the good fight. So.
Yeah, well, thanks for all the great work that you're doing, Tom. We really appreciate it. And thank you so much for coming on the podcast. And really hope that this helps get the word out.
Yeah, so. God bless you. This is the fourth time, right? Fourth time's a charm. That's what people always say.
The third time.
Yeah. Well, God can move mountains, so may this
Right.
mountain be moved, so for his glory.
Amen.
All right, thanks everybody.
Okay, thank
Have
you.
a wonderful, wonderful end of summer, beginning of fall. So
Have a great week, everyone.
Get those signatures in, Massachusetts. Counting on you. All right. God bless you, everyone. See you next week.
God bless. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Ever Living Podcast, a podcast by New Hampshire Right-to-Life, New Hampshire's oldest and most active pro-life organization. You can learn more about our work and learn how to get involved at www.nhrtl.org. If you would like to donate to our mission, you can make a donation at www.nhrtl.org/donate. See you next week. May God bless you and be very near to you, and may you be ever living.